Today's lesson is areas of parallelograms, triangles, and trapezoids. There are two lessons put together for certain classes. And so 10.1 is about parallelograms and 10.2 is about triangles and trapezoids. So example 1, we're going to start with example 1, 10.1. So vocabulary you need to know. It's the area of parallelograms. Now parallelograms are opposite sides are parallel and congruent. Congruent, for people who've forgotten, means they are equal to each other. And the area of a parallelogram, the formula is base times height. And the base and the height have to be right angles to each other. So to find the area of a parallelogram, you need to have the same unit of measurement. But on example 1, we have yards and feet. That means I have to change something. Well, I'm going to take the bigger unit and change to the smaller unit. So I know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I have just changed 1 yard to 3 feet. If it was 2 yards, you would multiply 2 times 3, which would make it 6 feet. Okay, now you're going to find the area of this rectangle. And you would do base times height. So the base is 7, and the height is 3. And you would go 3 times 7 is 21. And then you would take your unit, which would be unit of measurement, which is feet. And you put feet. And you square it, because you did feet times feet. B. You have meters and centimeters. They are opposite. They are not the same, again, unit of measurement. So I'm going to take my bigger one, which is 1 meter, and 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So now I have the same unit of measurement. Remember, if it's 2 meters, it would be 100 times 2, which was 200. So remember to do that if it's on your homework, if it's different. So now you could do the base. The base and these two are the same as bases. Okay, so you're going to take 100 times 10, and it equals 1,000 centimeters. Squared. All right, let's see. You might need to know some other things that go into it. So some other things is 1 foot equals 12 inches. So 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Okay. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. There you go. There's some stuff that you'll need to know for measurements. All right, let's go to the next one. Example 2, find the area of these parallelograms. So notice that they gave you 3 numbers, and all you need is 2. Remember, you have area is base times height. but the base and the height have to be right angles to each other. And they gave you a right angle, so this line and this line are right angles to each other. So they gave you an extra one just to throw you off. So I have 3.5, that's your base, that's your bottom of your, and then 8 inches is your height. So you have 3.5 times 8, and that's 28 inches squared. Now it's a little different on this one. Notice the height is on the outside because this line is 90 degrees to that line. That means this is your height to the base of this parallelogram. So your base is 5 and your height is 10, and then you do 50 centimeters squared. Notice that on C, 3 inches is right angle to this bottom, but the top of it is also equal. So that means you could do, this is also 5 inches. So you do 5 times 3, which equals 15 inches squared. D. Notice here this line is your 90 degrees to this. Sometimes it's going to be on an angle. So now your base will be 2 and your height will be 10. So it's going to be 2 times 10, which is 20 inches squared. Remember, notice on all of them they gave you extra numbers. That just means they're just trying to confuse you. Alright, so now we're on 10.2 where we have talking about triangles and trapezoids. The vocabulary is area of a triangle, which is a 3-sided shape. The formula is A equals 1/2 base times height. The base and the height need to be right angles. And there are 3 types of triangles you might find on your homework assignment, maybe more, but I think most of them will be flipped, if anything. Your base and the height, notice they have right angles. They might have the height inside. The height might be just part of the triangle, and sometimes your height might be on the outside of your triangle. You have what's called an area of a trapezoid, and the bases are parallel. That just means 2 lines of your quadrilateral has to be parallel to each other. And I have area equals 1/2 B1 plus B2. B1 and B2 are your bases times your height. And you have two kinds of trapezoids I wrote. I'm sure there's more. Sometimes they'll be flipped, which is fine. I have your B1 is up on top, your B2 is on the bottom, and your height just has to be a 90-degree angle, which we've been discussing. Parallelograms, triangles, and now trapezoids, they all have to have 90-degree angles for your height. And another one is just part of your outside might be your height of your trapezoid. So let's try example 1 of 10.2. Alright, find the area of the triangles. Now I have a base. Base is usually your bottom and your height is always the right angle of it, so it doesn't matter where the base and the height are located. They just have to be right angles. Notice again, they gave you a third number. They're just doing that on purpose for you, just to irritate you. So I have from here, I notice this line is right angle to that line on A, so it's going to be 1/2 8 times 3. It doesn't matter which order you put them in, you just need to have them. So 1/2 of 8 is 4 times 3, which is 12 centimeters squared. B, I have this is a right angle to this. So those are your base and height. 1/2. Doesn't matter which one you think is the base and which one's the height. So 1/2 base times height. And so half of 2 is 1 times 5, which is 5 centimeters squared. And here I have on C, this is a right angle to this. So this time I have 1/2 times 10 times 12. And half of, I'm going to do not 5, I'm going to do 12. I'm going to do these two together. So half of 12 is 6 times 10, which equals 60 inches squared. All right, example 2, they put two figures together. I'm going to do the rectangle first. So remember, it's base times height. So it's going to be 16 times 10, which is 160. And then my triangle, and that's this and this go together. They're 90 degrees. And the bottom one is the same as the bottom of the rectangle, so that makes it 16 feet. So you're going to do 9 times 1/2. 1/2. 9 times 16. So that would be 8 times 9. And that's 72 feet squared. And this is feet squared. So you're going to add them together, 160 feet squared plus 72 feet squared. And that would be 232 feet squared. B, this one's a square, so you're going to do 4 squared or 4 by 4, 4 times 4, which is 16. Either way you look at it, yards squared. And then here you have a triangle. Your base is again 4, so you're going to do 1/2 times 4 times 4, because your height is 4. So it's going to be 2 times 4, which is 8 yards squared. So 16 plus 8 equals 24 yards squared. All right, we're going to do example 3. I think that's the last example. And then we'll be done for this lesson. I forgot to videotape it. Here's your stuff. These two are your bases. This is your height. I did it work for you. On B, check it out, see if you could do it. I showed you how to do it. Put me on pause if you don't have enough time to draw it out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.